Okay, welcome Remco Westermann, who is the CEO of Media and Games Invest. Initially, Remco, could you give us an elevator pitch for Media and Games Invest?
Yeah, Media and Games Invest, we're a gaming company growing fast and profitable with a CAGR of over 40% in the last 6 years. We focus on sustainable games with loyal user bases, growing via M&A as well as organically. And we have a supportive media unit that gives us a USP for user acquisition plus an additional revenue stream.
And you have served the company as the CEO and chairman of the board since 2018. Can you start off this interview by giving us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a Dutch national, studied economics, then started working in the oil industry, which is something totally different. Went into consulting, strategy consulting, then heading the restructuring practice a few years. Then went into digital media, digital entertainment, worked amongst others for Sonora, the Finnish telecom, bringing internet outside of Scandinavia, also co-founding or being part of the Z, which was mobile value-added services, ringtones and this kind of things. And then after that, founded Bob Mobile, which is now called Click Digital, which is a mobile services company also listed in the German stock market. And since end of 2012, I started to buy Gamigo from Axel Springer, and Gamigo has become part of Media and Games Invest and is now basically the company we're talking about.
And 2020 has been a special year for all of us, but how has the pandemic impacted MGI?
For gaming companies, the pandemic was helping us a lot. I mean, we have normally a negative seasonality in Q2 and Q3. This was totally turned around this year. So instead of going down with revenues in let's say the second quarter, we saw a big spike of revenues. We saw, let's say, our loyal gamers gaming more and spending more. And we saw also a lot of new gamers coming in. In Q3, when the lockdowns were, let's say, lessened or were stopped, the gamers played a bit less, but the gamers that came in Q2, the new gamers, they started spending. So we also had a very good Q3 where we today released the numbers. So really happy about Q3. Our media unit had a bit negative impact in the beginning of Q2 because of advertisers pausing their campaigns. But that was, we are mostly concentrating on game advertisers and on e-commerce advertisers. And they were actually increasing their budgets after it. So we have also seen a very good increase of revenues on the media side, especially also in Q3.
Interesting. And how would you say that MGI distinguished itself in comparison to your competitors?
Yeah, we do a lot of things similar because we don't need to do everything different because the market is really huge. I mean, we're talking about $160 billion being spent on games every year. And in that, we are still a very small gaming company. But there's a few things where we specialize on or where we focus on. First of all, sustainable games. So games that have a loyal customer base, that have long-term revenues. That makes, of course, life a lot easier instead of having to get users into the game all the time and games with short lifetimes. So that's what we focus on. Secondly, with our M&A, we are strong in M&A, but we're also integrating the targets that we buy. And so that's an important point. Then the media side, which makes a stronger user, I would say, acquisition, which is not typical for most companies that are in Sweden, but we see some US companies also doing that. And the fourth one, sorry, I think is a strange one because we are a gaming company, but we're not doing new game development. Because we think that we are still too small to develop massive multiplayer games. Massive multiplayer games typically has an invest of at least 5 million, if not more. And as there are many games being launched every month, the risk of, let's say, a launch success or not having a launch success pretty high. So that's the reason that we think that we're still too small to do game development ourselves. But there are a lot of good games that are developed by independent and other studios where we get licensing rights now.
And you're stating on your website that MGI is growing 4 times faster than the market. Could you please expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, gaming market is growing on average with 10 to 11% CAGR each year. And we have a CAGR of over 40% over the last 6 years. So we've been consequently growing faster than the gaming market. And that's, as I said, a mix between M&A, so buying companies, and organic growth. Now, organic growth is actually speeding up every year. So we're putting more emphasis in there. A lot of IPs where we started as a publisher, we have been buying the full IP. So we own the games now. and do the development in-house. So we don't do new game development, but what we do is, of course, improving the games where we own the IP. So we have also many game developers in-house that are improving the games that we have.
And what will you be focusing on in 2021?
2021 will basically be a continuation of what we're doing now. So we don't want to invent something new or to change something dramatically. We typically do 3 to 5 M&A transactions per year, expecting to do that also for next year. We have a very well-filled pipeline, so of course we do preparations for that already now. We see a lot of activities in our games, in our current game portfolio. We expect also more sub-licensing partners in Asia where we don't do ourselves publishing towards the consumer. So there's a lot of exciting things going up. Synergies will improve. Our EBITDA margin has come down a bit because of the media acquisitions we did, where we're still integrating them. That will come up in the next year. Looking forward to next year. But we still have to go into Q4, which also should be a good one. And
in conclusion, what is that makes MGI an interesting company according to you?
There's always different sides of it. I mean, of course, very important for the team that it's fun working in a company, that people have possibility to grow the company, they have possibility to bring in their efforts and their ideas. So that's very important because in the market we're in, retaining personnel and getting good personnel is very important. So that's one thing we're focusing on. And for investors, I guess that's what your question is aiming at. Of course, I mean, a company that's growing fast, that's trying to grow low risk, which is pretty exceptional, I think, in gaming, what we're really focusing at, and that's showing good profitability. I mean, there's many gaming companies, but I think we're doing, let's say, we at least have been showing a quite nice job in the last years, and expect also to be able to do that in the future. Okay, thank you very much, Remco, for your time, and good luck in the future. Thank you, Martin. Thanks a lot.